Hey, it's Hans Johnson here. I'm in Kona, Hawaii, which is my hometown, the town I grew up in. And I happen to be sitting right out in front of the McDonald's that sits on the very bottom of the neighborhood that I grew up in. Here, I'll show you a photo of, or a picture of the McDonald's here. I'll get out of this Jeep and show it to you. Hold on a second. So what I'm doing, so this neighborhood is called Hamburger Hill, and it's because of this McDonald's, which really doesn't look much like a McDonald's anymore. But there it is right there. This thing, it looks very different than it did when I was a kid, obviously. It's changed a little bit. But this McDonald's has been here for years. And you can see the little M arch right there. You can't even tell hardly that it's a freaking McDonald's. And the parking lot looks so different than it used to. I'm not even sure exactly where to start because this used to all be parking right here. And when I was a kid, so we were so poor. And maybe you've heard my story. I used to walk around town in this village. And selling plumeria leis, making flower necklaces called leis for the tourists, and I would sell them downtown, and it was for like groceries and school clothes and things like that. But there were days where I remember being a little kid and going into this McDonald's, and I got a bad sunburn from yesterday, so I should have worn my hat. And I remember going in there and eating. They used to have these little jelly packs for like the McDonald's breakfasts. And I remember eating those, like literally for food, or like packets of sugar and stuff like that, because we're like in the morning before going right here, right on this corner, right here was my bus stop. But this was all fields. There was nothing here. Anyway, so we wouldn't have breakfast in the morning often. And so I'd eat those packets of like jelly and sugar and stuff for breakfast. But anyway, I just wanted to walk up this hill and just sort of like, I haven't been here for a really long time. So anyway, I just thought I'd videotape it, just kind of have you on this journey with me. So I moved to Hawaii when I was 8 years old. My brother was 6, and I grew up in a, typical American family. I had a single mom who, being a single mom is tough. It's very, very challenging. She raised 2 boys. She was married, divorced 3 times. Had a lot of fathers come in and out of my life. More than I can remember, and we were moving constantly. We never had a place to live, basically. So it seemed like every 3 or 4 months we were moving. There's not too many neighborhoods on this island, on this side of the island, that I didn't live in for a small period of time, and so there was a lot of instability. A lot of, there's a lot more houses here than there used to be. Hope I'm going the right way. It's hard for me to remember. It's been so many years. And it's strange because everything looked bigger when I was a kid, and now things look a lot smaller. And I'm not sure if I should have turned. I maybe should have taken that turn back there. God, it looks so different. Anyway, so, I learned to work. One of the benefits was I used to come home from school and pick these flowers off these trees, off these plumeria trees, and make these flower necklaces go downtown, sell them to the tourists. Man, I must have missed the turn. I can't believe it. This is just crazy. I'll come back around the other side. This street was always a nicer street. This one here. But everything looks so different. It's really messes with the head a little bit. I think maybe it's been at least 20 years, maybe 25 years since I've been here. This was all fields. Yeah, I definitely missed that turn back there. It's so weird. I don't ever remember it being that close to McDonald's. It seemed like it was further. Okay. So this used to be all fields right here. And so I'm walking over. So anyway, sorry, distracted. Maybe this is going to be a terrible video, which wouldn't be the first time that I've done a terrible video. Anyway, so, you know, I learned to work young age. You know, by the time I was about 10, 11, 12, I was doing yard work, landscaping, clearing land. I'd work every day after school and on weekends. And I moved out. I was in and out of the house at, from the time I was 12 to 16. 16, I was out totally permanently. Anyway, this is one of these houses here. Hey, brother. How you doing, man? I'm filming me. I used to live here. I grew up on this. I'm filming me.
Who?
I'm filming me.
I don't understand you.
I'm recording myself. I grew up here when I was a little kid. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. No worries. No, I'm not filming it. I'm not photographing you. Just me. No worries, bro.
You're taking it. Go ahead.
I used to live here when I was a little kid. Okay, brother. God bless you, man. Anyway, so one of these places, I don't even know. Obviously, I'm down in the part of the neighborhood that's can't even remember which house I lived in. I don't even know if it's there anymore. And some of these people are sensitive about being filmed, so anyway, looks a little different. Everything's a lot closer together, a lot smaller, streets narrower. I actually had a gecko circus on this street. My brother and I trained these geckos. Wow, this was my friend's house right here. Okay. There's a house back there that I lived in. I lived in three separate places on this street at one point. And it's all so much smaller than it was then. It seemed like it was big. And it's just a trip. So anyway, so then I ended up leaving Hawaii at 18, met my wife Danny. She had gone from living out of her car with $2.03 to her name. She was embezzled by a short-term husband, and she ended up starting a business and becoming very, very successful. And I met her about 3 months after that, because I was always looking for a way to make extra money. And at the time I was working as a commercial diver out at Ocean Farms and OTEC, Natural Energy Lab here in Kona, Hawaii at Holy Point. And, you know, saving money, but I always thought about owning my own business someday. My best friend Chris and I would talk, and we would talk about how someday we were going to have desk jobs and all this sort of thing. But anyway, the main reason why I wanted to take this walk, partly one was for me. It's pretty, it's been so many years. And There's that guy again. So it's been so many years, it's sort of like messes with me a little bit. My name is Hans Johnson, brother. What's your name? Aloha. You're a good man, man. He's not comfortable with me filming myself walking around. There's some bad parts of this neighborhood. Anyway, there's also a big movement in Hawaii now too. You know, growing up here as a white person, I used to get, man, on this was another bus stop right here. I used to get just chased and beat up. We were in town the other day, and I was like, man, I need a t-shirt. We need to find a t-shirt that says I survived Pound Howley Day. So going to school, they would be like once or twice a year. They would just call Pound Howley Day, where, you know, it was like if you were white, you'd get you get pounded. And anyway, but there's a big movement out here for kind of a native indigenous type thing, reclaim land, and you know, a lot of that's understandable. So anyway, but so just continuing with the story, man, I've been so blessed, you know, to start in the neighborhood like that. Basically, you know, bad education. I mean, there wasn't a single day of my life that I wasn't living in freaking fear constantly, you know. And you know, the way I used to handle somebody like that guy right there, very different than the way back down here at McDonald's now. Very different than the way I handle it now. So I'm sure it's not every day they get some guy like me walking through that neighborhood now with a video camera, probably. And I kind of thought that I was sort of expecting that. So anyway, but you know, the bottom line here is, this is a long video. It might be just completely terrible, but you know, it doesn't matter where you're from. You know, I have been blessed. My life, you know, not all easy. You know, even getting started in business. You know, many years of struggle. You know, challenges, and then learning to invest. You know, True Wealth Formula now, which is just sort of my investment mindset, life philosophy system that I teach our clients. But you know, the amazing thing is that if you have the desire and you get good training, you know, you get plugged into good training systems, good community of people, and you follow stuff that works, and you work hard, you know, you can come from anywhere, you know. You know, you don't have to come from a privileged life. You know, for me, it wasn't just back at McDonald's. It wasn't just overcoming. It wasn't just the poverty, which is a big part of it, you know, the mindset. It was that poverty thinking, oh, you know what, I'm gonna just walk through town. But it wasn't just the poverty thinking too. Or, I'm sorry, but I mean, it was the fear, it's the lack of stability, the self-esteem, you know. And one of the things that growing up in this environment here, and that fear, I didn't realize this until many years, actually only till sort of recently, is fear will make you this is one of the streets I used to walk out to go sell my lays. Fear will basically make you do things that it'll make you do what you think is the right thing and what looks like the right thing, but it'll be for the wrong reasons. And you'll overdo it, right? So like, you'll take risks. So one way that fear plays out is some people don't take risks. They're afraid to take risks. Well, in my case, on the other side, I was taking more risk than I should. I didn't understand risk management, right? Why? Because I had to prove to myself, right? And I had to prove to others. And I was, I wouldn't admit this. I couldn't actually see it, but I was very fearful. It was ingrained into my DNA, And so, if you get plugged into a system and you don't quit and you persist, right? So let's talk about True Wealth Formula, right? So what we do is we focus on teaching you how to manage your money, right? But before we can even get there, and everybody wants to know about investing. Oh, what's a good investment? Like Amazon is just, about to hit, whatever. Is that a good investment? Like I had a friend the other day ask me, is Amazon a good investment? And the answer is always the same. It's, I don't know. Are you a good investor? What's your investing system? What's your system to manage your money and to manage risk? It took me actually 2 decades to learn this. But before we can even go there, we have to deal with this part. We have to deal with the thinking. We have to deal with the underlying value system. We have to deal with definitions, how we define things. We have to deal with how we view ourselves, how we view the world, right? Our judgments, underlying judgments that we have about money, that we have about other people. Entitlement thinking, right? Grasping for, speculating and gambling and all of those things. So we deal with that. We get that foundation set up, because you can learn. You could read all kinds of books. You can do courses. You can do all this stuff. But if you don't deal with that part first, if you don't set that foundation, then you're building a house on sand instead of on the rock, So this is old. This is called World Square right here, and this was the original movie theater here in Kona. I don't know what it is now, but I used to sell Lays through here, and I used to have this London bus right here. We used to ride that bus out to the hotels, and they'd put people would throw coins in these wishing wells in the hotels. And when I was a kid, the London bus was a double-decker red bus. It was free to ride, so we could stop at the different hotels, and we would get those coins so that we could buy some lunch. Not really something I'm proud of, but that's what I had. That's what I did. I used to dive for coins off the pier down here. So anyway, this was one of the places I sold Lays at, right here. And then right across here, Kona Inn. We'll walk through there for a little bit. If you ever get the chance to go to Hawaii, go to the Big Island, go to Kona. The Big Island is crazy. You can be on the top of a 14,000-foot mountain in the snow and ice. You could be on a volcano. The volcano just took a chill pill. It was freaking blowing its mind for months out here, but now it's sort of in chill mode, and the air quality just is amazing. And so anyway, this is Kona Village. So I used to just walk back and forth here, asking tourists to buy my Lays. And, on a good day, I can make $3 a lei, which are the flower necklaces. But on a bad day, I'd have to sell them for maybe like $1 or sometimes give them away. So it just sort of depends. But that was a lot of years ago. So anyway, before you can, so the deal is, so if you're looking at, maybe you're already a True Wealth Formula client, and maybe you're enrolled in our implementation program. If you haven't yet, and you're watching this video, it's not cheap. but it could be 10 times more expensive than it is, okay? And you could click a button if there's a pay, an offer or something next to this video. You can find out. Man, I'm walking through here so fast. Sorry, just distracted. Anyway, you can find out more, get enrolled. But what it does, it takes you through step by step how to manage your money. Okay, starting with that foundation part that I was talking about, the mindset and the programs that are in our minds. I had a lot of programs in my mind. I had some of them that were good. Like, hey, if you work hard, you can do it. Put your mind to it. You can do anything. Now, that one, I think, to my mom's credit, I remember her telling me when I was a kid, hey, you could be anything. And which is pretty awesome. And I actually believed it, which has mostly been a huge asset in my life, but sometimes it's been a liability. But just because I tried to do things or did things that maybe I shouldn't have. So I evaluate things very differently now. I like to keep things simple and try to keep the stress down. So anyway, no man, I'm good. How's it going? So I used to walk through this whole town selling these lays. And okay, so if you get in True Wealth Formula, what we're going to do is we're going to take you through step by step. Okay, so it's a very linear program, meaning that you don't go to step 2 until you've done 1. Okay, once you've done step 1, then you do step 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. And the thing is that most people think that, oh, if I can just get lucky, or if I meet the right person, or I can win the lottery, right? Then I'll be wealthy, I'll be rich. If this happens, then, okay, if then. And most of that thinking is lottery mindset. It comes from sometimes a poverty root, other times, like in my case, other times, it could be other things, okay? But there's some fundamental foundational laws that are literally spiritual laws, which means you can't break them, okay, like gravity. Okay, it's a law of creation. It's a law of the universe. It's a law. I believe it's a spiritual law. Okay, well, there's financial laws that are the same thing, and most people throughout their whole life are breaking those laws. So they live paycheck to paycheck, or get a raise. You increase your income. You're making more money than you ever have before, but you're just further in debt, right? Which is the pattern. And so what we do in True Wealth Formula in the implementation program is we go through and we break those thinking patterns, okay, and those programs, and we set some new programs up. And the thing is that your mind, and your thoughts, and your words actually create your world and your environment. And so you could be doing stuff, but still thinking wrong, having very deeply embedded programs and belief systems in your mind that are sabotaging your success, okay? They can sabotage your investing, they can sabotage your career, they can sabotage your relationships. So it doesn't do really good to teach or to learn even these things when that foundation is there still working against us. So what we have to do is we have to uproot that foundation. We literally have to do demolition work first, and we have to take a jackhammer to that existing foundation and get down to bedrock, okay? And like a prime example of this is just taking it back to the investing. Look at this town, it's so beautiful. This is the bay here. It's just so awesome. So like a prime example is everybody knows that if you want to be a successful investor, you need to buy low, sell high. So we know this cognitively. We've all heard that saying before. Buy low, sell high. Makes sense? Yeah. Okay, pretty simple. And I know financial I know certified financial planners, okay? Financial advisors. I know very, very, very smart people, and they literally believe that that's the key to successful investing. And the reality is that it's not. Yes, it is cognitively, but if you study, and you can even look at your own life and your own background. Okay, this is the pier. I used to dive off this pier when I was a little kid. Dive in this water. It's about 10, 12 feet out on the end there. So tourists would throw coins in. We'd be swimming, just dog paddling. Do you have any coins we could dive for? Do you have any coins we could dive for? And they'd throw their coins in. We'd have to catch them. We'd have to dive in and catch them. And I used to paddle out here, outrigger canoe race. It's tons of fun. But this whole town, I'm gonna start heading back now. This whole town was. It's so crazy for me because everywhere I walk here, I have just so many memories. It's ridiculous. So anyway, back to this thing. So we think that if we buy low, sell high, but the problem is you can know that cognitively, but the question is, do you do it? And statistically, most people don't. Statistically, what happens is people buy more and more and more as a market rises, okay? Stock market, real estate market, whatever. Creates that frenzy. You're hearing about it in the media. You're hearing about it through advertising. Your friend says, oh, I bought this house and I flipped it and I made, double my money. Or, man, I made so much money on Amazon and the stock market or whatever it is. And so then what happens is more that buzz is created, more people start piling in. And so statistically, okay, without fail, most people, and when I say most, I'm talking well over 90%, okay? They get into markets at the wrong time. They get in and they invest, they don't buy low, sell high. They actually do the exact opposite. They buy high, they buy when it's high, and then market ends up correcting, okay? It goes through a correction or a collapse, right? All markets boom and bust, right? Every boom is followed by a bust, and every bust is followed by a boom. That's the cycle of markets, okay? That's the business cycle. That's the economic cycle. It's the monetary cycle. And there's reasons for that, right? So what happens? People get in at the top, and then the market rolls over. They don't have an exit strategy. They don't have a way to manage risk. Their advisor's saying, oh, just hold, just hold, just hold. So they buy into this buy and hold type mindset, which ends up turning into buy and fold. The market ends up rolling over, and when it gets down to a point of maximum pain, that's when everybody capitulates, and they just go, I can't take it anymore, I got to get out. Well, so up here we know, we're supposed to buy low, sell high. Sounds cute, sounds so easy. Doing it's not easy, right? Statistically, that's not what people do. They do the exact opposite. So if that's the case, why do you want to basically set up your entire financial future, right, on a belief in something that doesn't work, right? Meaning we have to look at reality. We have to look at, we can't think we're smarter, okay? We can't think that, oh, I know this. I read this book. I know this information. I'm smarter. It's not going to happen to me, okay? That's not true. What we have to realize is that there's something else in play, okay? And what's in play is human nature, okay? It's what I call the 800-pound gorilla. It's our subconscious mind. It's all those programs, all those belief systems, okay? It's that fight or flight mode that gets kicked in, right? It's fear. They say that markets are driven by greed and fear. They're actually mostly driven by fear, okay? Because people get in at the top because of fear of missing out, FOMO, okay? And then they sell at the bottom because of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, okay? You can memorize those two acronyms. So that's what drives. And if you don't have a system that has been strategically designed to counter the human nature component, okay? The psychology, the behavioral finance side of it, okay? That can separate your mind, okay, from your decision-making process, okay? Then you're not going to succeed, right? I mean, there are people right now that are sitting exactly where they were 15 years ago when the dot-com crash happened, right? They lost money when that happened. Then during the financial crisis, they lost money again, right? And now they're starting to pile back into the markets because the markets have been, I'll walk through here. Let me get out of this sun. Markets are in an uptrend right now at the time of this video. So it took me years and years and years and years to learn this stuff. A lot of trial and error, a lot of mistakes, a lot of successes too. And I started to look at, man, what are the common denominators in my own behavior, right? What do I know about myself? I finally stepped back and I stopped rationalizing it and making an excuse. And I said, what is reality, right? What is really happening? And what do the professionals do? What do the most successful investors and traders in history do, right? And so that's what True Wealth Formula is. That's what it does. And it's a money management and investment system that puts you in the driver's seat, that allows you to take ownership and control of your financial planning and your decisions regarding your money, because nobody's going to do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself, right? And, you know, we just want to hand it to somebody else, think they're going to take care of it for us. Well, some people do, and some people have had good experiences with that, but overwhelmingly there's been a lot of, you know, bad experiences with that. So one of the things that you realize is that things don't need to be as complicated as you think, right? So when you're in the driver's seat and you start basically going through this implementation program, it's sequential, it's step by step, okay? And you will be the master over your money, okay? You will no longer be the slave of your money. You will be the master. In a master-slave relationship, the master tells the slave what its purpose is, what its reason for existence is, and what he wants it to do, okay? If you've ever felt like you're not in that position with your money, right? Like, do you have $1,000 saved up right now? Okay. And do you know without, I gotta take a break from the sun. Do you know without any doubt how to make 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% or more on that $1,000, right? Do you have that knowledge? Do you have that capability? Okay. What would your life be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now if you knew how to do that, right? And how would it affect your decisions making, right? Meaning your ability to say no to opportunity, to great sounding ideas that are presented to you, right? That come along, right? To people that say, oh, you got to do this investment, you got to do that, you know? If you could just learn how to properly evaluate an investment and how to say no, you'll be better off than 9 out of 10 people, okay? And that comes from a confidence of having a system, right? That you're in control of, that you understand how to manage it, how to implement it, and that you're getting a result. In other words, you can look at something, somebody makes an offer. In other words, if you know how to evaluate the risk properly, okay, because there's real risk and there's perceived risk, okay? And they're not the same thing. So if you know how to evaluate the risk properly and manage that risk and generate a return, then you're in the driver's seat, right? You're not handing your money over to somebody who is telling you all this stuff. Can you verify it? How do you actually verify it, right? I could go on on this. So that's what True Wealth Formula is. And the cool thing about it is that the money part is fun, but it sort of gets boring. What's really fun is this part, right? Is the human behavior component. The way that money is a tool to help us grow, okay? And the things we can do with our money. You know, like, we've given millions and millions and millions to orphans, to single moms, abused women and children. And if you don't master your money, how are you going to do that? You know? So we have to basically we have to learn to be the master, and then we can help others. We can use that money as a tool. I think I'll use a crosswalk this time. And we can have fun. I've had some fun lately. Being back home is fun. Seeing old friends, seeing neighborhoods, stuff I used to do, places I used to go, you know. Even running into that guy up on that hill was kind of fun. Okay. This is sort of fun right now. Crossing the street when you didn't get the green light for the crosswalk is kind of fun. While you're doing a video, it's even funner. Okay, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. A little walk down memory lane. Sorry for all the background noise and the crappy video work. But look, here's the deal. If you're not a TWF, True Wealth Formula student yet, if you're not enrolled in the implementation program, if you haven't downloaded our Wealth Builder app, that's a 5-star rated app on both Apple on the App Store, the Apple App Store, and the Apple App Store, and the Google Play. You're gonna want to do that, but you're gonna want to get yourself enrolled with True Wealth Formula implementation program like ASAP before we end up closing it off. We do keep it sort of limited. You'll have access to the content and the training material 24/7 right there through the Wealth Builder app. You'll be able to go through the course, you'll be able to go through the videos and the worksheets and everything as many times as you need to, and you get this thing down, okay? Other than that, this is Hans Johnson from Hamburger Hill, Kona, Hawaii, saying thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. God bless. I'm looking forward to this journey with you, helping you master money and live the true wealth lifestyle. God bless.